the most famous veteran from the PEFTO, former President Fidel Valdez Ramos. Good afternoon. When Korean liberty was attacked in 1950, Filipinos were among the first of the Eurasian brothers to step onto the shores of South Korea to lend a hand to a neighbor in peril. In a span of 5 years, more than 7,000 Filipino soldiers were dispatched to the Korean Peninsula at a time when our fledgling democracy was struggling to recover from the ravages of the Second World War and to rebuild the lives and communities that had been destroyed. As a country that fought to regain the freedom of its people, we knew that it was our responsibility to see that the same values our heroes died for were not trampled upon elsewhere. With World War II fresh in our memories and well aware of what this undertaking would demand of them, our soldiers plunged into the fray without hesitation, joining the fight to defend the freedom of South Korea, to defend the ideals of their country, and to defend democracy. This memorial hall is a testament to the bravery and the sacrifice of those who took the burden of war on their shoulders so that the people might be free. Here we remember the men of the Philippine Expeditionary Forces to Korea. Here we look back on a shining moment in our history, and we are reminded of the special bonds that have tied our fate to that of the Korean people for more than 60 years. My father was one of those who made the long journey to the Korean Peninsula. Though he was armed only with his typewriter firing off news stories and not bullets, as a correspondent for the Korean War, as a young man, he saw the courage and determination of our soldiers and the resilience of the South Korean people. In his dispatches from the front, my father paid tribute to the importance of solidarity, the demands of sacrifice, and the true value of freedom and democracy. He would return from the war and embark on a political career with those lessons in the back of his mind. They became the strongest weapons he had when he learned what it meant to fight for freedom. In a time of peace, when my father opposed a dictatorship that kept the Philippines in darkness for more than 20 years, it was out of a desire to stand in solidarity with the Filipino people and out of a desire to safeguard the democracy of our country. When I think of my father, I am reminded of another man he had the privilege of meeting, a man who lived by and upheld the same principles of democracy, a man who similarly opposed authoritarian rule despite the threat to his life, and I refer to the former President Kim Dae-jung of South Korea. They both knew that it was not enough to have independence. They knew that they could only be worthy of the sacrifice that so many men made during the Korean War if they fought for and gained true freedom for all their countrymen. Many of you may be familiar with the simple sentence attributed to my father, and I quote, "The Filipino is worth dying for," close quote. I believe His Excellency, former President Kim Dae-jung, thought the same of his people. Though we may be divided by distance, by language, and by culture, the Philippines and the Republic of Korea share a similar history. We surpassed the hurdles that our early democracy presented. We survived and learned from a brief encounter with authoritarianism. And from these experiences, we stand today as more mature democracies committed to the development of our peoples.
Am I the reason you get stoned every week now? Build up integrity, got you texting, emailing me, wanting me to feel with you. Baby, just face reality, move on. Sometimes it's hard to face reality.